Bro, I think I told y'all about this already, but there was somebody made some CPS calls on me. Um, one of them was like when I left Washington State. Um, and the only person that knew that I was moving around from the hotels, it was the people at the schools knew. At Evergreen Elementary, they knew because that's where Zayden was going to school at. I think it was Evergreen Elementary, where he was attending school at when we got wrongfully evicted. And so they knew that we was living in the hotels. And then Keith knew because Keith Cleon Simmons, I had talked to him like once when we was living in the hotels. He also had knowledge that I was going to give blood every now and then, to make ends meet. Okay. Now I was in Washington State for probably about 2 to 3 weeks after we were wrongfully evicted by Copper Landing. And then I left and came back to North Carolina. I was in North Carolina for probably about a week or two, and I got a call from where they said they was CPS. I think they were just somebody trying to call and get some information. From CPS in Washington State, saying that they had got a call that we was living in a hotel, and things of that nature. And then he was trying to figure out, he was asking me for my address or where we were located and stuff like that. Because I was like, well, first of all, they ain't in no, unsafe conditions. Even if we was living in a hotel, nigga, you ain't calling if y'all gonna help us get some housing because we were just wrongfully evicted. But not only that, I'm not in Washington State no more. And then he was trying to figure out where we was at and things of that nature. So Washington State, I don't know if it would be Spokane County because that's the county where we were living at. But it's possible that they had a bullshit ass, bogus ass CPS case on me as well. I talked to him very briefly. And I remember where I was at when I got the call. I was at because I was trying to put Zayden in football out there. And it was a football team like with Durham something, but it was one of those football practices. So I can go back and probably kind of find the dates of when they called. But didn't hear anything else about that. Then I got, and I think I still got the little letter that she left on my door. There was 2 letters that was left on my door. There was a lady that came and said that they had got some calls from CPS call on me and my kids in Wake County. And they were saying some stuff about some things and stuff like that. She was asking about the doctors and stuff that they went to and different things of that nature. But after, when she got there and talked to us, she was like, well, we're going to close the case because, I don't see anything alarming, things of that nature. She talked to the kids, looked around the house like everything looked good. Like every time they try to call CPS on me, this was the one time where they did the pop-up visit in Wake County. And this was before the fake CPS nigga came. He said that he was from another county and that he was doing a well check or something. It was strange because I hadn't heard anything from the lady, because the lady was somebody that was the person that was doing the case. So what they're doing is taking these real CPS calls and then they're bringing in their fake ass CPS actors and just trying to get in your house and find out what's going on and things of that nature. They got people posing as fake CPS workers. But I think I got a video somewhere where I recorded him talking to the kids, and I might have I might actually have a picture of him on the video. I just got to go through my phone. But anyway, because I really need to find out when it was. I actually got a message in my phone somewhere. In one of these phones, I got a message because the dude that came, the fake CPS dude that came, I don't even know if the first one was the real CPS. I don't even know if she was the real CPS or not. But I know I talked to her. She gave me a little paper with her name and her information on it. And I probably got it in my evidence box somewhere. Okay, but she just sat us down, asked us questions, and I'm looking like, bro, like I take care of my kids. Like, you can look around, I don't give a fuck. Do what you got to do, just get the fuck out my face. Like none of that shit. Whatever allegations they said, they lying, and it's some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just hurry up, do what you got to do. And we sat down, we talked to her. The kids talked to her and let her know, nigga, my mama is a great mama. Get the fuck out of our face. You know what I'm saying? And so she was like, she was going to close the case. I don't know if that was a real CPS case, but this was Wake County Department of Social Services. If y'all want to look into it, you should look into it. All right. And then, it was probably like 5, 6, 7, 8 months later when the dude with the fake CPS was posing, and he had on the badge, he had on the car, he backed in, he just walked up to the house, and he was like, he was from CPS, and he was like, nigga, what you mean? And he didn't know no details of the case. I'm like, so who is the old work? He was like, I don't know any details, cause it caught him off guard. I'm guessing they thought that it was still an active case open, but bruh, I take care of my kids, like, my kids Gucci, we great. But, so he didn't know no details about the case. He didn't know if the case was still open, so they gave themselves away. So then I'm on the phone with Jarvis, and I'm calling him like, nah, I need to get a witness, not knowing that he is a part of the motherfuckers that sent the nigga in, the fake ass CPS. So then he was like, well, what's everybody name? I'm like, nigga, you don't even know. If you supposed to be filling in for somebody, why don't you know the details about the case? Why don't you know the kids' names? Why don't you know the details about the case? Why don't you know when the case was originally supposed to be open? Okay, because from my knowledge, that case is closed. He was like, well, do you got anything in black and white? I said, no, I don't have nothing in fucking black and white. But the bitch ain't nobody came back. I ain't seen nobody since that day. It's been 7, 8 months ago, bitch. Ain't how CPS work. If there was something alarming, I would have been seen them again. Okay, but yeah, they had a dumbass nigga come posing as CPS. And I don't know if I took a picture of his tag number or not. I know he had like a gray Honda. I know what he looked like when I see him. But I may or may not. I think I recorded the video of him talking to the kids. I'm not sure if I got his face on that video or not, but I do know that I recorded the lady that came too, and I got her name and stuff too. So Wake County Department of Social Services, there's people, I already told y'all that there's people working in that organization that are working with this organized crime too. But yeah, he came with the fake CPS, and he didn't even look around the house. This is how I know that he was some bullshit, because CPS normally look around the house. Like the first lady that came, she checked in everybody's room, looked around the house. She was like, well, I don't see anything, alarming or anything like that. Like, we can go ahead and close the case. I'm like, all right, cool. But then, she was saying that she needed like my kids' doctors' information and stuff. Like, there's been quite a few people that have been trying to get information on what doctors and stuff me and my kids go to too with this case. Not only that, I got it on record of me and her talking that day. So I know what day that was. Y'all can find out who called, when they called, what they said, how they said it, whatever. But I know for a fact that they sent Amaya Ford to my house. They sent her to my house one time on Chris Road. trying to make like it was some other shit going on just to get some eyes in over there to see what I was doing. Amaya Ford was reporting back to Jesse French and Daphne Brown about what was going on at my house. And then Amaya Ford too was she was sent over there again in Wake County. They sent her again when I was in Wake County. To get information and to see if they could find out what was going on. But I just got on here to tell y'all about them calling CPS on me. It was a time in somebody said they was from Washington State calling. All right. I don't remember the exact date. I just know that around the time when Zayden was on that football team, and we only went to a couple practices because like it just wasn't gonna work. I didn't have the money, didn't have the gas. We was homeless. You know, I was just doing something trying to keep their minds off of what was going on while I was trying to figure out, you know, how to get some housing. But that was when we was at the hotel with Daphne Brown. Because before I left to go to Washington State, she was in a hotel, and when I was coming back, she was in a hotel. Not sure if that's really where she was living or if that was just a front. But before I left to go to Washington State, she was living in a hotel. When I came back, she was still living in a hotel. You know, in the hotel that she was staying in the first time, I know where those hotels are at because I lived in one of the hotels. We stayed in one of the hotels for like a week. But yeah, that's just I've just got on here to tell y'all about the times that they called CPS on me. There was another time where somebody had called CPS on me when I was living in Lumberton, in Fairmont, North Carolina, when I was living in Fairmont. And I don't know what that call was for, but when they made the call, they just popped up. Every time they popped up at the house, they popped up at the house. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. You know what I'm saying? They came in, they talked to everybody. Because I had passed out at the hospital. This is when I was doing drugs, when I was staying in Fairmont, North Carolina. But I had passed out because I was on a drug binge. I was snorting a whole lot of cocaine. And it's not funny, but I used to snort some lines. But we used to call it cooter brain, high as cooter brains. But I used to get high as cooter brains. But I had went on a binge, and all I was doing was snorting cocaine. I was eating it for breakfast, you know. And and they popped up at the house. Cause I had went to the hospital because I wasn't feeling well. Of course, I'm eating cocaine all day for like a 2 weeks straight. So of course I'm not gonna feel well. So I ended up going to the hospital, and I hadn't washed and nothing, and I was stinking up in that motherfucker. It ain't funny, but this is just some of the things that I've been through. I was stinking in that bitch. I was really I was embarrassed for real, because when I got there, this is when I was talking to E, and we was getting high, and the kids didn't know, but somebody needed to go to the hospital. So I'm taking one of the kids to the hospital, standing in line trying to check them in. This was the spirit stepping in, saving my life, because I died one time and came back off of that cocaine. I died once. I remember dying once. I remember almost dying a couple more times. But I did die one time and I came back. But this was like a little bit after that. I ended up having to go to the hospital to get checked. And so when I went to the hospital in Lumberton, North Carolina, I'm standing in line and I felt it coming. I passed out. And when I came back to, everybody was standing over me, and I'm looking. The first thing I'm asking for is where my kids at. You know what I'm saying? Where my kids? And they was like they had ran out there and got E, and he came in. I was so embarrassed. Oh, I'm just thinking about that shit. I'm so grateful for growth. I'm so grateful I got off them drugs, y'all. But yeah, I done passed out in the goddamn hospital. I'm in that bitch stinking, ain't ate, ain't washed, ain't even drunk nothing to eat. I'm just eating drugs. And, oh God, gratitude. I'm so grateful for protection, because I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I'm just grateful. But yeah, and the CPS popped up, and because I had passed out at the hospital, they had called the CPS on me because they found drugs in my system. And so they came, and when they came, I was like, you know what, just going through some things. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get off the drugs. I know what I need to do. I'm working towards it. And that was when I started, like, all right, I want to get off this shit. I'm done with this shit. I need to figure out why am I doing drugs. So then I'll just start. That's when I started going in to find out why I was doing drugs. And then I found out that the reason I was doing drugs is because of my childhood traumas that I was trying to run from, that I didn't want to face. And then that's when I started facing them. And when I started facing them, that's when I just started asking God, like, just help me. You know what I'm saying? I want to get off these drugs. I don't want my kids to grow up and their mama be a crackhead and all this type of stuff. I want to be better for my kids. That was when I made a conscious decision I want to be better for my kids. And so, it took me maybe about another year to really get off of it. I started crying about my traumas, you know what I'm saying, releasing that pain that I was holding in. And, I started working on getting away from the environment that I was in, getting away from the people that I was around and stuff like that. That was when I moved from Fairmont, North Carolina to Chris Road. But yeah, somebody called the hospital is who I think called the CPS on me that time because I passed out in the hospital and I had drugs in my system. So, but that was the first time. That was when the hospital called. After then, that was when I realized I need to get off drugs. Started working towards that. It took me about a year or so after then, to completely get off of them. But, I stopped, and then sometimes I would have a backslide, you know what I'm saying? I went through the motions of really going through and getting off the drugs until I really, was done with them. And then I was off of them for a couple years, and then I backslid when I turned 31 after being, when you sleep with people who do drugs, those spirits attach to you. So the spirit of addiction had jumped back on me because Jarvis Baldwin, he's addicted to alcohol. And so, being in that relationship with him is what ultimately brought that spirit back. But then not only did the spirit attach to me, it helped me realize that there were more things that I needed to heal from. So then that's when I started back healing, because for a minute I had stopped, working on my healing. And then when that spirit jumped back on me, that was when I realized that I hadn't dealt with all my childhood traumas, and I started healing again. So my healing process, it's been since 2017, 16, something like that. It's been about 9 years that I've been on this journey. 16, yeah. It's been like 2016 because I left in 17. So yeah, about 16, 17. It's been about 9 years that I've been on this healing journey. It's been a on and off, and then it got to a point where all I was doing was healing. You know what I'm saying? But it was in different spurts. It was levels to it. But backsliding after that 2 year being done, it was like I knew that the spirit had jumped on me, but I also knew that in order for the spirit to be comfortable with my energy, I had to still be dealing with some low vibrational things. And I was dealing with my trauma and the nigga, that they sent in, Jarvis Hosea Baldwin, to monitor me, to put me back in that state. Because when I left Fairmont, North Carolina, I was healing, and they didn't want that. So they sent somebody in to stop me from healing. But yeah, that was a legit call. That's the only legit call that I've ever had on me, is when I passed out in the hospital, and I had drugs in my system. There was a bogus ass call from Washington State. There was a bogus ass call from Wake County. All of those calls were out of malice and out of people trying to get back at me because they were mad, trying to get my kids taken, trying to get me back into a low vibrational state, because by this time, I was ascending even more. And like I said, the more I ascended, they didn't want me to be able to seer and psychic and hear, and see and feel, and use my gifts the way that God intended for me to use my gifts. And so they would throw in these monkey wrenches every now and then and hide their hands. Daphne Brown, Jesse Ann French, Amaya Ford, Rhonda French, all the motherfuckers in the family, Davin Brown, Artasia Singletary, all them motherfuckers, Crystal Ann Brown, all them trying to make it. They would throw the monkey wrenches and hide their hands. But yeah, I just got on here to tell y'all about the CPS cases, the bogus ass CPS cases that they called on me, and about the motherfuckers calling for Washington State acting like I don't know if they even really was CPS, but they called my phone and they was trying to get information. There's been quite a few times where people have called me, and I got voicemails, where people have called me trying to get information. I've recorded calls and everything. I have a whole lot of evidence. On top of the evidence that y'all got, I still got evidence. But yeah, I got a recording of when the lady came. I got a recording of when the dude came. I just had to search through my pictures and my phone and, find out which one is which. Because I don't erase stuff. I just buy storage. But, yeah, I just got on here to tell y'all about that because that hit my spirit.